Yeah, thanks. First off, thanks for everybody for coming, and thanks to those of you who are attending online. Really appreciate that. Coverage is important, so thanks. As far as preseason has gone, I think it's gone as well as we could have anticipated. You know, we came out of last year, and we're still disappointed about how the season ended last year, and we've taken away from that an opportunity for growth. And there were several priorities over the offseason in terms of how we wanted to upgrade the roster, some of the changes that we wanted to make from a personnel standpoint, but how important it was to maintain a core of players that could take us from that point in the end of the season into this season, and really sort of building off the continuity and consistency. And I think we did an effective job in the offseason of ensuring that we were doing that. We made some upgrades to the roster. We prioritized several positions. And then, you know, like I said, we maintained a core group of players that offers us that consistency and emotional, professional, and cultural buy-in. And now that we've gotten into preseason and we're, you know, 3 or 4 weeks into preseason now, you're really starting to see that pay off. So we really pick things up exactly where we left them off last season, and I think that that's important going into a preseason. It's a relatively long preseason. I think, what is it, like 9 weeks, which is longer than MLS preseason, for instance. So we have a lot of time for athletes to be able to gel and work together, but being able to come into preseason right off the bat with a group of athletes that know each other, know how each other plays, the strengths and weaknesses of each other is, I think, going to be a competitive advantage for us.
We had some tough lessons last year. We had a good pre-season and then didn't start the season particularly well, and we learned from those moments. We grew within the season as it went on, and so we were able to go into pre-season knowing the elements that we needed to work on, and we had a clear plan of what our objectives were going to be during this pre-season schedule. We've played some competitive games. We've got a lot of healthy bodies, and you know there's a lot of competition within the current roster as well. So it's a great advantage for us. Everyone's fighting for a position come March 16th, and you know there's a lot of excitement within the staff and also for the fans going into that first game of the season. Yeah, I think you know that half you're talking about, it was just trying to get a group of players to be competitive within the current roster that we had. You know, last year there was a lot of growth within the group, a lot of growth within the staff also. And like I said earlier, we had a lot of hard lessons to learn, and you know we grew within those moments as well. I think the main thing for us is to be adaptable. You know, we now have a clear identity of what we want to be, you know, both staff and players. But we also want to be exciting to watch, and we want more fans to come to the stadium and go away knowing that they want to come back. And again, we want to create this winning mentality, and you know, for us, it's for the players to know what that means and how that feels to win games. This league is arguably the most competitive league in the world, and you know it's not easy to win 3 points, and so the players had to learn that the hard way, and I think we can just continue that momentum moving forward, and it's going to be exciting for all of us because we set a standard last year, and we want to continue to move forward with that. It's been great. It's been great to be a part of. It's almost like starting fresh with a clean slate, and having the buy-in from everyone. It doesn't just take myself, it takes the whole group, and it starts from the top. But I think the most important thing is, you know, we wanted to create a culture where everyone felt they had an opportunity to come in and make a difference. You know, the best player in the world is as valuable as someone who's just coming in as their first year. So making the players feel valued is really important for us, and I think that can somewhat be a recipe for success. But we also want to create this growth mindset. We want to make players not just grow as footballers, but as people also. So I think that's been a big culture change within, you know, the last couple of years. I mean, if we go back to last year, obviously it was disappointing how it ended, but I think, again, we can learn a lot from it. There's definitely a hunger within the group when they came back into preseason that they didn't feel fulfilled towards the end of the year. But it's a new year. We've got new players. We've got more quality within the roster, and as much as we don't want to look back and we want to continue to look forward, we will take it game by game. And the message is, we need to be fit and ready for March 16th against Louisville. And we now know how important the start of the season can be for the longevity of the season. I don't know if you've got anything on that.
Yeah, I would just say that, it is a very long season. It is a marathon of a season, and we certainly have athletes who, coming out of last season, have a bit of a chip on their shoulder, and they feel like they've got something to prove, and I think we all sort of shoulder that a little bit. But, obviously everyone's goal is to make playoffs and ultimately to win an NWSL championship. But because it's such a long season and involves so many matches, it sets a really lofty goal, and you really have to be effective in how you approach it in terms of small chunks. So one game at a time, one group of games at a time. The athletes this season are trying to be really deliberate in how they can break the season up into chunks so that they have an idea of just making a goal seem a little bit more manageable. And I think, historically, we haven't been as deliberate about it, and the players have really wanted to take that on. So I think, we also don't want to put additional pressure on them. They are intrinsically motivated in and of themselves to achieve the goals that we're all going after. But we also have to be cognizant as well of constantly talking about playoffs and championships and playoffs and championships, because of course that's what we want to do. That's why we're here. That's our job. But ensuring that we're setting them up for success from the beginning, and that they recognize it is a long season, and that we have to start off strong. And we look back, and not just the first 4 games of the season, but if you look at how we dropped points, put Portland to the side for a second. But if you look at the 3 games that followed that, how we dropped points, we were giving up goals very, very late in stoppage time, and teaching the players how to play games out, how to win games, how to hold on to a win, and eke out those points has been a skill that, and a process. I think that we're in a much better place this year than we were last year. But it's just a process. So I think we just have to be very careful of how much pressure we put on the athletes, recognizing the fact that they are already putting quite a bit of pressure on themselves to perform, and they know that the expectations and the bar has been raised coming out of last season, and so they're ready to live up to those expectations.
What we did last year and the standards that we set out last year, and then add in the quality within the group as well. We're bringing in the likes of Angelina, Luana, Ali Lemos, just to name a few. I think as well now there's almost like a different style to our game, but we got to keep to our identity. That's really important to us and the rest of the staff. So I think just the additions, and then just what we set out to do last year, and the momentum that we achieved last year, and then even going into this preseason, there is a lot more excitement amongst the group. They know that there's a lot of competition around them, which then raises the level of training, raises the level of the games. Knowing that there's someone behind you could quickly take your shirt off you. So I think from a fan's perspective, there's a lot of excitement around this team. But to Haley's point earlier, like, we can't put expectations out there. This club's only reached playoffs once in its existence, so why start now? We just want to take it game by game, and getting off to a good start will be really important for us moving forward, and making sure that we sustain a high level throughout the season.
I've said this before, and I'll say it basically any chance that I get. I would not have come to Orlando if I did not feel like the Will family was not, if I felt like they weren't committed wholly to the pride and to women's football and investing in women's football, I wouldn't be here. And I think you can look at my background, and I'm pretty transparent about things like this. I genuinely would not have come. And I can tell you that they've lived up to my expectations. And when you look at the the players and the athletes and some of the changes that we made, not just in the roster, but around the facility and from a cultural standpoint, the buy-in that we've received, not just from the players and the staff, but from the ownership as well, the trust and confidence that they've put into Seb and I and our staff to make decisions around several of those things on and off the field, that can't be underestimated. I'm highly appreciative of that. Specifically around the roster, I think we have a plan. We've had a plan all along. Like since I arrived, like Seb and I have worked together, like in step on, solidifying our back line, solidifying our midfield, and we've got a process, and we're not done yet. And I would just say that none of that would be possible without the resources and the trust and confidence that the Will family puts in us, and there's something to be said about that. So I'll start. Because Seb and I care a lot about off the field things. Seb obviously cares about a lot of the on field things. And for me, we have a set of core values. There's things we care about. We care about respect, inclusivity, accountability, teamwork. And those attributes are the attributes that I'm looking for. When we're out scouting players and recruiting players to come to the club, how they're going to fit into that culture, and do they have a growth mindset? Are they accountable to their behaviors? Do they hold their teammates accountable? Are they comfortable with that? Those are the things that matter, and that requires a lot of diligence on our part, having the connections and asking the questions. The reality is there's an entire world of talented footballers out there, so ensuring that we're bringing athletes in who are going to buy into the culture that we're creating, they're going to be part of something special and genuinely help us, and ultimately the players are the foundation of what we're building. Without them, none of this exists. So ensuring that off the field, the personalities and the values and the attributes and what they're bringing to the locker room, what they're bringing to their teammates and to the club ultimately really matters to me. And then Seb focuses on several things with on the field, so one of them might be versatility.
No, it is. I mean, you can have so many different formations and stuff, but one thing that I've always said to the players is that you have to stick to your identity and stick to your principles as well, and it takes a certain type of character to play that way. Growth mindset. We want to continue to grow players not only on the field but off the field as well. Even if you're a 6-time World Player of the Year, there's still room for improvement. So we do a lot of individual work with the players. We sit down, we go through their goals, we go through technical, tactical, physical areas of their game that they can continue to improve on. The reality is that they'll be here for a certain amount of time, but if they leave, can they leave a better person, a better footballer? And I think that's all you can ask for. And then lastly, the hard working part. You have to have a good work ethic. Nothing is given to you in this game. You have to earn every inch that you can get. So once you cross that white line, it's all gas, no brakes. You know what I'm saying? So we want to continue to grow the team in those departments, and I think if you have a good roster of those characteristics, you could set yourself up for success. It's massive. You've got a player who has won every accolade you can imagine, individual accolade you can imagine. So when she's setting a standard to the young players or even the players who have been within the league, it sets a really good tone around the group. So she has that hunger. She's never lost that hunger, even at her age, and she wants to achieve something. And so when you see Marta doing everything that we're asking her to do, what a viewpoint for all the players to look at her and say, we're saying, well, Marta's doing it. There's no reason you can't do it. So compared to last year, obviously she was coming off the back of an ACL. She's in real good health now, and she still has that hunger to go out there and win a game, whether it's a small-sided game or a game on a Saturday for Orlando Pride. It doesn't matter. She's a winner, and that's what we want around. Right. Yeah, it's a great question. With the extra travel now, with the tournament midway through the season, there's more matches to be played, and so that player rotation will come in a lot more often than maybe it was last year. And that's why we've added quality to the roster so we can sustain a high level. I've been here since 2015. I've played in the MLS. I know what it's like to go from Orlando to Portland or to Seattle, and so this country is very demanding. The league's very demanding also, and again, we have a set identity and we want to stick to that, and it may require some change to the roster, but we know that we'll keep to a high standard and we'll go out and want to win every game that's presented to us. So regardless if we're cross country, we're going to put a team out there that's going to go out there and try everything to win a game. Yeah, it's probably something that they're not used to, but we've seen a lot of growth within them, especially this past year. We've put them in positions where they can become those leaders. And so we lean on them a lot. We can only see so much, but I'm very much a coach that allows the players to control the dressing room, control the players. I will have discussions with them quite frequently, just getting the mood, getting the feel, and they can relate those messages to the rest of the players. And I think what they've done this far has been brilliant. Like I said, it's not as natural for them as it may be for some other players, but they've really stepped into their roles, and we're pleased to have them here and pleased to that they've taken on board that leadership role, because it's not easy. So Simone's training. She's training fully. It's never easy coming back from a long-term injury, so we've had to manage her as we would do with any player who's had a long-term injury, and so again, it's important that we get Simone at a place where she can be available throughout the whole season. And so with players like Simone, Carrie Lawrence coming back from injury also, we're having a lot of discussion with the medical staff and seeing how we can best support them with their journey to the return to play.
Yeah, I just would say that, if you look at how we managed things, injuries, over last season, we had one of the lowest soft tissue injury rates in the league, and we had the lowest re-injury rate, and that's because we are diligent and patient in ensuring that players are set up for success upon their return. So yeah, Simone is in training. She's in training fully, but ensuring that she's there, mentally, emotionally, and physically is really important to us. So, not just is she ready to compete, but is she ready to compete in a level that she feels really happy with, and she feels where she can thrive, not just sort of survive and getting by. So she's doing great. She's integrated really, really well with the team and what our expectations are, what our culture is, and I'm excited to see what she does this season.
I think that was good, huh? Of course, if I be like, if I tell you the truth, I don't like to do physical, things like that. But I understand it's important for playing in high level that you need to be good, like not only with the ball, but like, like physical too. And I don't think it's only me, but the whole team did very well, and we're happy with the results. And I hope we can show on the field like we are ready to go.
That's
really important, not only for the players but for the staff too. We had time for speak with different staff about everything, and to get to know a little bit more of the new players, and welcome them, have time with them, not only in training but outside too, so that was really good for the team and very positive. I think when you have a good relationship off the field, really help to make decisions on the field too, and make the players comfortable, and so you you speak mostly about soccer, no matter what. We sometimes like go out and then have a coffee and then decide to don't speak about soccer, but at the end of the day, we, end with that. We and because it's our life, it's like what we love to do, and I think like a good relation, both inside on the field and outside, help a lot, like the team. It's really like comfortable for me, like to look around and then see the Brazilian players. Of course, they don't help me like improve my English, but like they communicate like on the field to me, like make so much easy when I need to talk to them. And I think it's a little bit like positive, a little like not so only know a little positive, but for me, in my vision, it's positive because the other teams don't gonna understand what we're gonna talk about, like so. And the connection already like looks so well on the training, so I hope like we can keep like that and then take everything into the games.
Have you started trying to teach some of your teammates in Portuguese?
A little bit, but I think like they ask Luana and Angelina too, so yeah. It's fun to, just share a little bit about our culture too. Every year is a different team. This year, like we have like many new faces. From beginning to now, I just feel like we starting take like our opportunity like more serious. Not only players, but like the whole entire team and who work for the team too, and then starting like really make like something really big here, like I feel like the owner of this team, like they want to do like something interesting for the women's soccer, so and then we have more attention from them to us, and then more investment, so I feel like the big thing is that we really feeling like we play for a professional team here. It's been 80 years here, so yeah. I mean, like from beginning to now, they just like accept me and welcome me like so well. The community, people around, like when I go out, like have a coffee or go shopping, people talk about Orlando Pride and stop me, want to know about the games. I hope they can come to our games. Because always when they stop and then talk about like, yeah, how you look for this season, I say, I look for see you guys, in the games. So yeah, I think like the environment, like in the club and then outside too, in the community, make me feel home. Oh, of course, it's like really, really special for me because we don't talk about like one season. I did good in this season. We talk about whole my life, whole my career, like, and receive this honor from FIFA. It's been like a lot, not only for me but for women's soccer. And I already like spoke to Adri that she need to do a few nice goals so baby can win this prize. If she repeat the goal that she scored against Angel C, they need to give to her. So yeah, of course it's big.
It's pretty crazy. Finally, we're getting there. It's been a long off season, a long preseason, and we're itching to get out there. We're excited. It's a long preseason, but the coaches and staff has done a really good job of easing us into things. And now we're peaking at the right time and gonna hit the ground running. Yeah, it's super important to have that time to build relationships and integrate the new players. The new players have been amazing. It's really exciting. They've fit in seamlessly and at the same time like elevated the way we're able to play. I said it last year as well, like what we have in this group is really special amongst the players. I think we really truly like got along really well. So it's nice to have that core, because I think there has been a lot of turnover in the past. So I think having that core allowed us to really not only we didn't have to start from zero again. We already had a good foundation, and adding the new players just raised that foundation. That's been a goal of mine and a learning point, for sure. Being stepping into a more leadership position, it's definitely been a challenge, but something that I've been working toward. And I think it's awesome that, even as a veteran player, I can still learn from the rookies or the younger player. I can ask Madrill, hey, what do you think about this? Madrill can ask me the same thing, or Sam's, I should say. But I think it's awesome that we all have that mutual respect for one another. Yeah, it's important for everybody to have a voice. We have young players, for example, Ali Lemos, she's young, but at the same time, she has, a lot of experience. She's going to be at the U20 World Cup, most likely. I haven't been to a World Cup ever. So, I think it's awesome that we can all learn from each other. And I think it's great that they're comfortable to step up and have a voice. Yeah, all I care about this year is just for the team is making playoffs. We spoke about it from day one. Playoffs is the bare minimum, and we no doubt have the team to do that and the resources to do that. So I take a lot of pride in, keeping the ball in the back of the net, winning my 1v1 battles, and I will do whatever I can to help this team accomplish.
I think early on we spoke about, the goal for preseason was to not have to rebuild every single thing from last year, but that we could pick up kind of where we left off. And I think that we've done that, and invited some new players into the environment as well. So yeah, I think it's been going great. I think that honestly, the first game is kind of sneaking up on us, and we need to really, kind of start to get in that mindset of, okay, we're starting, the long stretch of games, but it's what we live for. So we're pumped. We just want to start to implement kind of our core values, our identity, just standards that we have moving forward. I think, again, with having new players, coming in and really trying to lift everybody else up to, what we expect from ourselves as a team, is something that going into these last few games, it's now it's go time, and we need to really treat these like proper games and like dress rehearsals, if you will, of we go out there, we get 3 points, and we take care of business. So that's what we are looking for, is to score goals, get 3 points, and carry that into regular season. I think it has to be gradual. I mean, we know that the first game is typically, there's a lot of emotions, there's adrenaline, we're not used to being in this environment all throughout preseason. And so I think that it is gradual, and that's why we need to start now and have that urgency in these games in the next 2 weeks, so that we have as little kind of adjustment and growing pains as possible in the first game. Yeah, it's awesome. I think that it makes us feel prepared, and it also helps, again, talking about, we're rotating, we're seeing, the type of players that we have, and other teams are doing that as well. And so it really helps those players also see kind of the level of play that they're going to be experiencing when they're in the NWSL. And so it's great from that standpoint. And it's something that was not always the case, looking back to other preseasons. So it's great to not just have to jump on the line and do a bunch of running, that we get to actually get match fitness from games. Yeah, I think just seeing almost every single team goes for kind of like a preseason trip. And so I think that's an investment that was not always there for all teams. And it really makes everybody, kind of dial in, and it also helps, obviously, culture and team bonding and things like that. But it really feels professional, and it feels like, okay, we're here to do a job. And so again, going back to just that adjustment from either college to the pros or adapting to a new organization coming from another team, I think it's huge to have that just jump in professionalism from the league. Yeah, I think that we're just able to really start from the beginning, implementing principles and kind of style of play, identity pieces that we want to see for this season. And so again, I think in preseasons past, it's been kind of like, okay, everybody's kind of new and we're starting from scratch. Like, Seb having his first full season as head coach last preseason, there were some, growing pains from coaches and players, just adjusting. And so this year it really feels like we have, a plan and a style and all those things that we need to be successful going forward. So it was nice. Yeah, I think it's funny. They are so willing to meet with the players and they want us to all know that like we're all on the same team. And I think that sometimes you get coaches who maybe are, defensive when people are asking a lot of questions and things like that. And they don't have that air about them at all. They love questions. They want you to understand and really feel like they have that open door policy. So I think that they've really grown in that. And I also just think that, yeah, they know what players need. I always kind of joke with them, like sometimes they give us too much credit and sometimes they don't give us enough credit, in the sense of like we need those constant reminders of like principles and things that they want to see from us. And so I think that they've really grown in that too, of like giving us the information that we need to be successful and be cohesive on the field. I think it just naturally you have so much respect for them for playing at the highest level. And also Yolanda, I mean, she was an incredible player in her college career, and at that time, there wasn't a women's league. And so I think just, having her kind of also that like we're just so privileged to have this opportunity and to have her help alongside us is great. But yeah, so we have so much respect for them as players and their understanding of the game. And so, yeah, it's great. And I think they are actually pretty old school, which is kind of funny, like, because, they're younger guys. They were playing not that long ago, but they're old school. And so it's kind of fun to, joke about kind of their style and what they went through and things like that. But yeah, so it's fun. We respect them for it and we can have a laugh.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's been a really long off season. So yeah, really excited to get going. Coming from Europe, the off seasons are like the preseason going like the actual training is probably like 6 weeks. The off season you probably get like 3 weeks to yourself. So it's kind of weird to have so much time. Yeah, it was the first time I did it here. Like it was just like getting used to having all this free time. I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. But now it's kind of like, okay, like, yeah, I have so much free time. But then towards the end of it, it's like, okay, I need to start playing football right now. A little bit. It's always difficult to like get things to match up though. Like say you wanted to do something like, and it's like, oh no, you can only do it in January. It's like, well, my preseason starts in January. So yeah, it's still kind of tough, but it's nice to have more time to kind of reflect on stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, we've kept a lot of the players. I'm really happy that we've kept like the back line. I think that's really important. Like the core of the back line is set and stable, and like we have really good relationships with each other. So I think that's really good. I think we've added quality too. Like we haven't just gone out and said, oh, we need some players. Like we've like Seb and Haley and the coaches have gone out and found like real quality players that are going to add to the team. So it's really exciting to see. It's really exciting to see the relationships built there. Oh, but she'll always be Madrill, just like Hanson's always Hanson.
There you go.
I'm waiting for Kylie to change her name too. I think for goalkeepers, it's always, I mean, for me, I'll talk for myself. It's like always the one that I always wanted. And yeah, like I asked for it last season, I didn't get it, and I worked my way to get in the jersey. So it's nice that Seb made me work for it because now I earn it. So it's a little bit sweeter that I worked for it and I got it. I did like the 21, but I gotta change it to 1. Yeah, I mean, Seb's whole philosophy is like you have to earn it. Like no one's given a spot. Like even this year, like he's given me the number 1 shirt, but I still have to earn it. I still have to go out there every day and earn that shirt. And I think that's the same across the board. Like every single person has to go out every day and earn their spot, earn their right to start. So I think it creates a really good culture within the team. It's a weird dynamic. We always say we have the GKU because nobody really knows what like goalkeepers go through, because it's not like we can go and play a different position. Like, we're very specialized. But yeah, we have basically a new GKU, honestly. I didn't expect such a turnover from like last season. Like, it's not expected, but those things happen in the game. But no, it's been really good. Kenna and Sophia have slotted into the GKU really nicely. So yeah, and we've still got Mac. Build back. We say we have the relationship with the back four. It's now the relationship between the back four and the midfielders, and getting those relationships really nailed in. For me, it's just, we had the conversation earlier. It's just still reading the game and picking up like little things and working on things to like get back to the levels of the end of last season.